Yes, currently I feel that we do need to work more with police and the safety, because currently, I don't know if you guys know, we had an incident in Orange where there was a gun person trying to like create something, and if you weren't involved, people didn't know about this. We just need to like make it aware, like we need to make it aware that it was out there, and we just need to work with the police community more to like keep this under rule, like have more police out there in the dorms, because this is where it happened. But also like we need to see more police men like around campus, and I am willing to work with them.
President Haverstock, you'd like to respond to that?
This is kind of related. I don't know if everyone heard about Clifton Hibbert, who was shot after a party this weekend. He was a Northridge student, but it was actually in South Los Angeles. We're going to be having a candlelight vigil for him at 7 p.m. at the Peaceful Lawn tomorrow. If you want to come and show your support, the family will be there. We really appreciate it.
To both candidates, how will we be working with the student outreach program to reach out more to minority students? First to Miguel.
I don't know if you guys know, currently Mancha puts on this program, which just happened this Saturday, which they reach to the minority students out there. And it's basically they come for a whole Saturday and they give workshops and all these different issues. And I feel that Mancha needs to work with outreach and this could grow even bigger to be a bigger event. And at the same time, AS could allocate money and help this out even more.
Prior to this year's budget, the CSU had the largest number of applicants from minorities than they had ever had before historically. And this budget cut that the governor is proposing is really causing a problem in that regard. So I think that if we work on this advocacy to make sure that the CSU budget is whole, and we make sure we get all the money we need for recruitment programs and outreach programs, then we'll be able to make sure that we continue to have plenty of students from low socioeconomic status and classes.
Nicole.
Outreach within minorities and just all students in general?
I'm sorry, Senator Wally. You can only answer questions that are directed towards the Vice President. Rephrase the question if you like. Again, I'd just like to remind anyone if they have any questions from the audience that would like to be answered by the candidates, please see the Chester in the back. Raise your hand again, Chester. And he'll bring you a 3x5 card. Please fill that out. Also, when you fill out your question, to make sure who you want to answer that question, who you're directing the question to. Again, I'd just like to remind anyone if they have any questions from the audience that would like to be answered by the candidates, please see the Chester in the back. Raise your hand again, Chester. And he'll bring you a 3x5 card. Please fill that out. Also, when you fill out your question, to make sure who you want to answer that question, who you're directing the question to.
Question for Adam. Adam, you mentioned that you want to give money to the athletics department. How will you be doing that without taking away money from other clubs, organizations?
That's a great question. I'm going to create a student athlete scholarship endowment. Do you know what an endowment is? Well, I'll just explain it now best. An endowment is kind of like a really large savings account. And what you do is you collect a very large sum of money, and then what you do is you spend the interest every year. That way you have long-term financial stability. One of the criticisms I had of the athletics department last election was that a lot of student money was just being shot into athletics. So what we really need to do is come up with a non-student fee-driven way to support them. And so if we can develop an endowment, just a lump of money, that we can live off the interest and give that interest money to athletes for scholarships every year, it'll provide long-term stability for our athletic scholarship program.
Miguel, would you like to respond to that?
Yes, I would. Well, currently, how are we going to do it? I don't know how to rephrase my question, because currently we are supporting athletics, but at the same time, CSSA wrote something about like AS not supporting athletics with their budget, and they want the university to take over. At the same time, yeah, like I said, like due to budget cuts, how is that possible when, okay, let me just rephrase this question. CSSA currently wrote this budget with 2 AS presidents currently doing. How are we gonna do this? Like, how is this savings bond gonna happen when we're already taking money away from athletics, like for AS not to help, like helping them out? And it's out there, the news is there, you guys can get it on CSSA.com, and it's currently like out there, and I can't say enough about that.
President Haverstock, would you like to respond?
Sure. I authored a resolution at the California State Student Association regarding Associated Students' budget sovereignty. It was a resolution that basically said that Associated Students organizations at CSU schools will not be obligated to pay for university programs at a university. Basically, it was trying to separate the responsibility of paying for university programs to universities and student-led programs to students. I think that's what Mr. Segura was referring to. It really was, I think, a big stepping stone in us developing our advocacy program on campus. I think that after passing that resolution, we were able to be seen as more credible and more of a representation of the student body on campus.
I have one more question, and that will be it. For both candidates who are running for president, in a nutshell, can you tell me why students should vote for you?
In overall perspective, why I want students to vote for me is because I've been involved throughout the university, not only in AS, but through orientation, in Greek life, and other aspects of the university. I have the overview of students, of a normal student not being involved, and a student also being involved. And I feel that I connect more with the students because I feel that I don't have the only perspective of the government. I have the perspective of orientation and the overall community. And what I want is just that all of it, like, to have a united season instead of having all these different things, just getting everybody united and working everybody together. So vote for E3.
President Haverstock?
In a nutshell, I would say it's because I walk the talk. I talked a lot last year in the election about effective government, fair funding, and student issues, and I think we've worked really hard this year to have a more effective government, to make sure we have fair funding, and to work on student issues, and I'm going to continue to do that. I've already done what I said I was going to do, and I'm going to continue to do that.
Thank you.
One more question for the vice presidents. I have actually the same question for the vice candidates who are running for vice president. In a nutshell, can you explain to students why students should vote for you?
Alex, would you like to respond first?
Yeah, I feel that we want to put the students first, essentially, when it comes to funding, when it comes to effective legislation in the Senate. I mean, I believe this past year, the current administration has passed more resolutions and legislation in the current Senate than has in the past few years. And I think that, as Adam said earlier, we can walk the talk and compete with what we're proposing.
Senator Umoli?
I think students should vote for me as vice president as well as the increased slate is because that I am a senator, I have experience with the increased slate, and also it's not just about passing legislation and that's it. It's about implementing the legislation. And our goal is as E3 in the administration is to implement the things that is written that AS stands for, and if that's not going to happen, we need to reflect on the issues. And that's why when we get into office, I believe we will get an effective government that implements what they stand for.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy Gomez, for the daily send-out. Now I'll take this opportunity to ask questions that were asked by our audience. The first question, President Haverstock, can you please explain the major differences between Students First and the E3 slate platforms?
Well, I can tell you what I stand for. I'll be honest, I haven't versed myself too much with my opponent's positions. I stand for effective government, fair funding, and student issues. I believe in advocacy. I think that the students need to be represented. The second that the students aren't up in the administration's face, talking to them about the issues, is the second the administration starts to take a little advantage, and starts to take a little bit away from the students. It's important for us to have effective government. That's what I would probably yield to my opposition regarding their positions.